Hey there, welcome back to my trek into insights and perspectives. Got a pretty heavy topic, and it came about because earlier today I filmed my Trek into History series, and today being April 24th. No, it's not. April 20th, 2024. See what I did there? I got some numbers mixed around. At any rate, the topic was bullying, because on this day in 1999, the mass school shooting there in Colorado, the Columbine High School, that happened today in 1999, 25 years ago. The reason given for why those kids did what they did was because they claimed that they were being bullied. And sorry, it's my car. Give it a second. So here's the thing with that is, on one hand, bullying is an issue. On the other hand, to say, I killed these people because I was bullied, is kind of like saying, I want to be good. I don't want to be bad, but the devil made me do it. It's basically saying I'm not responsible for my actions. And, well, but you are. It is. So here's the thing with bullying, right? I know a thing or two about this because I was bullied, right? Unlike those two youngsters in 1999, I didn't shoot anybody. I didn't kill anybody. Either I got my ass kicked, and I'm going to use some language here because it's important. I either got my ass kicked, or I finally had enough of it and I stood up. I confronted, and I got the situation dealt with. Was it righteous? Probably not. Possibly not. I don't know. I felt it did the trick. The first time I was bullied was right after my stepdad died. Two girls were, you can, vilify me all you want. Please go right ahead. I do recognize that was not righteous on my part. But two girls were bullying me. They were chanting, "Billy, we're glad your dad died." And they would do this every day and torment me on the recess field. Now, this is 5th grade, so it's still grade school where I'm from. Teachers wouldn't do anything about it. Principal wouldn't do anything about it. They'd kind of shake their fingers like, "Girls, stop doing that." But then they'd say, "Bill, I'm sorry, Billy. You're just going to have to ignore it." Like that ever helps, right? That's where the education system fails children, fails the bullied in this sense, is that they basically say, "Shame on you, bullies, stop doing that," and then that's it. No ramifications, no consequences, there's no disciplinary actions other than shame, shame. And all the while they're told, the bullied are told, you just got to ignore it. Or they tell you, suck it up. Or they say, well, just, avoid them. Like, any of that really helps in the real world. Okay, let's break this down. You're mugged, right? You are being mugged on a street. You can't ignore that. You can't just will it away. You can't, remove yourself from that situation, especially if you're being mugged at gunpoint, knife point. You're essentially, you're victimized. So what do you do? Right? Well, I'm a coward by nature, so I say live to fight another day. So, if they're going to mug you for your wallet, give them your wallet. If they're not paying attention and you think you can get the upper hand, thump them. If you think you can get away with it, by all means, do not ever put yourself in harm's way. You're not Steven Seagal, you're not Chuck Norris. At any rate, the point I'm getting at is their simple solution to you as the bullied in the school system. It's like, oh, just ignore it, or I can honestly say in my situation that standing up and saying I'm not taking this anymore did the trick. In my situation, when it came to those two girls, I started checking out dodgeballs. Again, not righteous by any stretch of the imagination, and I get that. Anne was always a little faster. Heather, not so much. I do distinctly remember hitting Heather right square in the head with that rubber ball, and then getting called out by the teacher's assistant, and I was told to go stand on the line for the remainder of the recess, to which I went and grabbed the ball, and they're like, I told you to get on the line. I'm like, well, I'm responsible for this ball. I'm going to get the ball. And so I sat there and bounced the ball for the remainder of the time that we were on recess. Heather thought twice about calling, but she was a follower, and Anne was the ringleader, and so she always did it, but she was always the one who got popped for it. Is it right to hit a girl? No, not at all. Did I get the point across? Well, they started to figure out that I was going to start fighting back. But that crap went on all of 5th grade because my dad died. It was that last Saturday of spring break that year, so it was the remainder of the 5th grade year, and in all 6th grade, or halfway through a good portion of 6th grade, first half of it anyway. Until my 6th grade teacher had enough of it, and she said enough is enough, and she put her foot down with the other girl's teachers, the other girl's teacher, and she put her foot down with the principal and said that enough is enough. He's gone through enough. His dad died last year. They're just poking fun at him because of it, and you're not doing anything. Enough is enough, right? Because I would get called to the office, because I had been aggressive to these girls, and they said, well, you can't do this. And I'm like, well, consequences have actions, right? Or actions have consequences. And I said, as long as you're not going to do anything, I will. It finally got to the point where my teacher had to tell her boss and the other teacher, look, it's not right to suspend him because he's being bullied. Do something about it. And so finally there was a meeting of the minds, and finally the teacher, their teacher, sat them down and no more. That's it, done deal. Principal said, no more. That's it, done deal. I never had a problem with them till junior high when I got bullied again, and that was a situation where that guy picked on me, and I just took it because I was a little fish in a big pond. And it wasn't until I finally stood up for myself. And what he was doing is one day he came into the classroom. It was an English lit class. He came into the classroom, and I was about 4 rows in, I think. I was about midway, but I was watching him walk alongside, and he's slapping everybody in the front row, in the front seat of each row. And I was at the front seat of that row, and I saw him doing that, and I'm like, no, we're not having this. So I grabbed his hand, I pushed it away. And he was like, oh, you're growing a set. And I'm like, well, I'm not having it anymore. I'm done with this nonsense, so stop. And he's like, well, stand up. We're going to have it out right now. He's like, stand up. So I stood up. And I don't remember who pushed first, but it got into a little bit of a shoving match, right? And then, so the teacher had a, one of those wheeled podiums, right? And so she was totally oblivious. She was a dumb blonde anyway. And I'm not, that's not a slight on blondes out there. I'm just saying she was a dumb blonde, literally. And so she was not really paying attention to what was going on. And, so I pushed him so hard that I knocked him right into her. And she's like, oh, whoa, what's going on? Justin, that was his name. I wasn't going to drop his name. Sorry. But, he was sent to the office because he was known to be an instigator. So he got sent to the office, and I didn't. And all his cronies were like, better tell her that it's okay, or we're going to beat you up after school. And I'm like, well, I'm done with this, so you do whatever you got to do. And I remember one of them was a good friend of mine. I mean, he's a good friend of mine now. His dad and my dad were best friends, so he was actually pretty proud of me. He kind of gave me a little snicker, like, "Good job, man. Good job." But the rest of them were like, "We're gonna get you after school." All right, whatever. Um, I don't know what happened, but they didn't get me. They didn't even come look for me, as far as I know. I mean, I walked home and that was it. And then, that was it. The point I'm making about this video about bullies is that um, Justin and I, years later, were sitting at a bar and we were kind of talking about the bullying, where he explained to me the reason why he bullied me was because it wasn't anything personal. He had nothing. He didn't have an axe to grind against me. What it was that he had issues. His parents divorced, and he was a hurting kid, and he lashed out. And I suspect that's often the case when it comes to bullies. Bullies lash out because they're hurting, and they want people to hurt. This is how it was explained to me. They just want people to feel the pain that they feel. So I'm not saying bullies are victims. I'm just saying that there's always a method to the madness. There's always a reason behind the behavior. And when you can understand that, then maybe you can do something to help fix it. So to the bullies out there, stop it, right? If you're hurting, go reach out to somebody. Talk about it. Get it taken care of, right? Hurting others because you're hurting is not the answer. Hurting others because you're hurting doesn't fix the problem either. It just makes you an asshole. I'm sorry for the language, but that's true. I mean, it just, you're not fixing your problem. You're only masking it. And actually what you're doing is you are perpetuating pain. Is it right that you got to feel that pain? No. So is it right for you to inflict pain upon others? Well, I mean, as much as you might feel like you can justify that, there is no justification for that. There is no justification for being mean towards somebody else. Jesus Christ, he told us to love one another as he loved us. He never bullied anybody. He loved unconditionally. So if you're hurting, reach out. If you're being bullied, again, reach out, right? I'm not saying go confront the bully and say, "Hey, are you engaged in some pain here? Can we help you?" All that's going to do is, well, you might just, fuel the fire there and just encourage them to be more of a jerk. Some people are just naturally jerks, right? Some are just doing it because they're hurting. And if you can recognize that there's a problem there, maybe there's a way of helping with that problem. But bullies, I'm talking to you right now. You never know what your actions are going to create, right? For every action, there's always going to be a positive or negative reaction. That's simple science, right? So if it's true that those two boys were bullied in Columbine, then what those bullies had created is they created murderers. By inflicting the pain that they inflicted on these two boys, they created these two monsters that ended up being their undoing. That doesn't exonerate them from what they did, but it doesn't excuse it, but it explains it, right? So, bullies, if you don't want to be victims of a gunshot because you push some kid over the edge, then stop pushing them over the edge. Stop being a little asshole and stop bullying people. Maybe, just maybe you should stand up for the little guy. Maybe you should give him a helping hand. Maybe he looks to you because you're a strong person. And it's, King Arthur always said, I know it's a fictional character, but King Arthur said to use your might for right. And I agree with that. So Bullies, stop bullying. Because you never know if you're going to create a monster that's going to come back and bite you. To the bullied, get the help you need before you ever get to that point of no return. Because it is a point of no return. That's the thing, is like, no matter how bad it is, no matter how frustrating it is, the fact is that, see, sticks and stones, my friend, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, it's a farce, because names do hurt. Words do hurt. But words only have as much power as we give them. However, again, there's no coming back from death. That's permanent. That is absolutely permanent, right? And you're just not messing up the lives of those who are hurting you. You're messing your own up too, right? Every mass shooter we've ever had, right, where it has ended with their death, they didn't come out of it either, right? And in the end, there was senseless loss of life because of it, because of whatever reason they chose to kill, right? In Columbine, it was about bullying, in other places, it was about because they belonged to a certain demographic, and that's wrong. But to the bullied, know this, that if you engage in violence against your bully, as in like you engage in an activity that does them harm or causes their death, that makes you the ultimate bully. So then you've just become the one thing that you hate. And why would you do that? So be better than them. Don't become them. That's all I got to say about that. And if I hope this message reaches anyone who needs to hear it, whether it's now or it's several years from now, whenever it is that you see this video. If you need to talk to someone, reach out, right? If you're being bullied, reach out. I'll talk to you. If you are a bully, reach out. I'll talk to you. Because this life sucks, and it's only going to get worse. Christ compelled us all to love one another as he has loved us. So let's start doing that. Let's start loving each other. Let's start with compassion and mercy and grace. Because ultimately, in the end, that's what he gave us, was compassion, mercy, and grace. And we deserve none of it. So maybe start giving compassion, mercy, and grace to one another. Because it's the right thing to do. Don't be a bully. No good can come from it. It's a taint on your soul. It causes undue harm to others. You might not care about that, but you will when it affects you. Maybe not you personally now, but, you reap what you sow. And what happens when you have a family member who's being bullied? Think about that one for a moment. Seriously. I implore bullies to stop bullying, and I implore the bullied to not become that which they hate. No good can come from it. So on that note, do take care of each other. Do love one another as Christ has loved us. And just be blessed. All right? Be blessed. Bless others. When you bless others, you'll find that you're blessed too. with that, take care. Goodbye.